So, Adam, what else is happening around Carolina athletics?
Field hockey at home this past weekend in the NCAA tournament. Got a pair of shutouts. Beat Delaware 4-0. That was in the first round. Then comes back and beats Duke 3-0 on Sunday. That's the third win against the Blue Devils this year. Riley Heck had 2 goals against Duke. Carolina now in the Final Four for the 15th time in 16 seasons. Carolina's going to face the 4 seed St. Joseph's Friday. That's in Ann Arbor. They'll win that game. And then they'll play the winner of Northwestern and UMass. Probably going to be Northwestern.
Northwestern needed overtime to beat Virginia.
Yeah, Northwestern's scuffling a little bit. We all know what's going to happen here.
By the way, my inside sources tell me, Adam, that Duke game had the potential to be the toughest game until the championship game for the Tar Heels. Don't know if that's true or not. That's just what some field hockey heads told me.
Coach Smith told me it's really hard to beat a good team 3 times.
Yeah, it's true. 3-0 too. That's a game.
Which is basically a blowout.
Yeah. So what? They've 7-0 in the 2 games so far.
Yeah. We know it's going to happen. Women's soccer. Women's soccer had a blowout.
That was a dominant performance.
Beat USC upstate 8-0. Matched the program's largest first-round NCAA tournament win in history. Braces from Kate Fossey and Linda Olmark. Tar Heels now 25-1 all-time in NCAA tournament first-round games. So now they host Santa Clara Friday.
This is a challenging potential couple. I mean, certainly Santa Clara is going to be a challenge, and if the Tar Heels win, they'll have a big challenge in the next round.
Yeah, I mean, the parity here is at a different level.
Yeah.
So Tar Heels play Santa Clara Friday at Dorrance Field. Then the winner of that match plays the winner of the 3 seed South Carolina against the 6 seed Minnesota on Sunday. That's also in Chapel Hill.
I know the Tar Heels have played. Did they play South Carolina this year?
Not this year. I think that was last year.
They've played them, though, recently. And they are always – they have – and South Carolina eliminated Carolina a couple of years ago, right?
I believe that's right.
So that has been a very competitive series in recent years. And as Adam alluded to, and correct me if I'm wrong here, because you know more about it than I do. Carolina women's soccer, I mean, I'm not in any way saying anything other than they've been one of the greatest dynasties in the history of college athletics, if not the greatest dynasty. I think field hockey is in a place kind of where women's soccer was maybe in the early 90s or something, or late 80s.
Early 80s.
Where the depth of talent and the parity across the sport is just not as deep right now. It's becoming more popular. I think eventually that will occur. Whereas women's soccer is there. There are more, the level of the depth of quality players and teams is much stronger now than it was 30, 40 years ago, which is understandable. And now, these are, in the past, let's say it was 1990. You'd say, oh, well, the Tar Heels are certainly going to make it to the Final Four, and then maybe, then they'll run into some teams that can compete with them. Now, I think once you get past the first round in women's soccer, even as a high seed, it's on from that point on. Any match is winnable or losable at that point.
There's also so much more athleticism in the game.
Yeah.
There's just more people playing.
Yeah.
And so let's say Carolina plays South Carolina. When those two teams go out there on the pitch, if they're all wearing just white T-shirts, you won't be able to tell who's who.
Right.
When Carolina goes and plays St. Joseph's in field hockey on Friday, you're going to know which one's Carolina and which one's St. Joseph's.
Mm-hmm.
There's just more. It's like you said, it's 4 decades of people getting involved in the game and getting to the point where a South Carolina who, in the Mia Hamm era, I don't even know if they had a team, now is capable of getting the athletes to come into a place like Chapel Hill and feel like they got a chance to win, because they do.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be the game Friday. Will be good because Santa Clara has either won national championships.
they have a very strong program.
I mean, that's your second round game.
Yeah.
So good weekend for women's soccer in Chapel Hill. Cross country also with some good news. The men finished second at the Southeast Regional. That's an automatic bid to the NCAA championships. Those are in Wisconsin this coming weekend. The women finished third, which is just outside of automatic qualification. but they still got an at-large bid. So both the men and the women go into the NCAA championships.
And they do that on time, the at-large bids. I think if you don't finish in the top 2, they take X amount of teams that had the best times.
From across all the regions.
Right.
All-America picks, if you finish in the top 25, you earn All-America. So it was Bryn Brown and Fatima Alanis for the women.
Boy, they're both very good.
Yes. Ethan Strand, Parker Wolf, Will Coogan, and Colton Sands for the men. Parker Wolf, the first 4-time All-America selection in Carolina history. Women's basketball went to Greensboro on Friday, lost 69-58 to UConn, who's number 2 in the country. So not a terrible margin. Some encouraging things from this game.
I thought, and I didn't see a lot of this game. It was happening right before the men's game against American, but I saw some of it. UConn was better at the beginning of the game and built up a pretty significant lead. I mean, I think they maybe led by 18 or 20 at one point, and that may not be exactly right. But I thought from that point forward, and granted, you're saying you're kind of putting an asterisk. Of course, it's different because they still built that lead. But it was a relatively even game, if not the Tar Heels maybe getting a little bit better of the play from that point forward. So, yeah, of course you're not happy losing or anything like that or saying, oh, look at us, we didn't get blown out. I mean, that's not where Carolina is or the women's basketball team. We're not suggesting that. But I do think it was a performance that you go with some young players that played a lot when Carolina was playing well in that game, where you go, okay, look, this is the level that you got to be all the time to do the kind of things that we feel this program can do. So a step on the journey for the Tar Heels this season.
India Navarre had 15 points and 9 rebounds. That's her first game of the year, so the Tar Heels still getting healthy. They'll go to the Battle for Atlantis starting November 23rd. Some good teams in that field, so they'll get more tests there. Volleyball went to Notre Dame and won 3-1 on Friday. Mabry Schaffmaster, 16 kills. Mike Shaw tweaking the starting lineup a little bit. Aaron Curtis has been playing well, so she's moved into the starting rotation. Carolina then goes to number 3 Louisville, who's on another level, and Louisville won that one 3-0. But now the Tar Heels are back home. 3-game homestand starts Friday against Cal. These are some important matches if Carolina wants to have a chance to make the NCAA tournament. Speaking of on another level, 4th-ranked Nebraska comes into Carmichael on Friday and beats the Tar Heels 34-3. The lone UNC win was Ethan Oakley at 133 pounds. Tar Heels back in action against Greensboro College and number 16 in the country, Illinois, on November 25th. And then some late-breaking news just into the news center here, Jones.
Oh, boy.
On men's soccer, they have made the NCAA tournament field. They will host Furman on Thursday. That's at Dorrance Field. And then win would advance them to a match on Sunday against information that is not in at this time, against 13-seeded Marshall. So the Tar Heels, I guess, would be on the road for that one.
Probably.
The winner of Carolina and Furman would face Marshall, who's the number 13 seed. So Furman's good. They just won the SoCon, so that is not a gimme.
Adam was there at the SoCon men's soccer tournament. So
yeah, obviously I want to see what the Paladins had.